Welcome, everybody. We're your hosts, Jacob Wasserman.
And I'm Zach Kuzo, and we're here with ATV 360, Albany's primary source of news for students by students.
Okay, so first we're going to get into politics. Recently, there was the GOP debate between Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, John Kasich, and Ben Carson. And I just want to open up the floor and talk about what are your opinions on the whole debates or the whole primary seasons right now.
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Donald Trump's winning. He's won like 3 of the last 4 primaries. The Super Tuesday, where there's 12 primaries coming up, I think he's got 9 states in the bag pretty much, out of all those 12. And look, like, Jeb Bush has already dropped out. He was pretty much his punching bag throughout the whole campaign and a lot of the debates. I think the big thing is with Trump, like, I don't necessarily agree with his views, it's just his outlandishness, you know? He's very just, out there. He doesn't care what people think. He doesn't listen to lobbyists. And that's what's scary and great. Like, it's a good thing you can, like, say what he wants to say and be honest. But I think the reason he's winning is just one thing: fear. He's still going into people's fears. People are scared of Muslim extremists. People are scared of illegal Mexicans taking their jobs. That's what a lot of his fans are, and his supporters are scared of. He has a lot of blue collar people supporting him, and they're scared of low level jobs like that being taken. They have this whole Islamophobia thing, and that's why he's winning, because these people have always thought this, but no one's ever said it, and that's why everyone's starting to love him in a lot of Republican states, throughout the South, blue collar Midwest towns, and I think you might actually win. As much as I don't necessarily want to see that, but it might just happen. What do you think?
I mean, I definitely believe that he's striking into the fear of Americans, but on the opposing side, I think it's great in America that you don't just need politicians that are able to run an office. You could have a businessman like Donald Trump. You could have a doctor like Ben Carson, even Carly Fiorina earlier in the election season. But I think it's great that anybody could run for office if you're not happy with your government. I think that's the roots of what this country was made on. And I'm glad that anyone could run if they believe their platform is the best that the country should be run on.
But I think the thing is, a lot of Republicans are starting to not really support him because they think he'll put a bad vibe on the whole Republican stance. Because think about it like this. Not even just necessarily foreign policy, but what happens if Donald Trump's elected and he wants to, say, bomb all of ISIS territories and start really going in towards ISIS territories in Syria, Iraq, and other Middle Eastern states? How is that going to play into foreign relations? A lot more countries are going to hate us than they already do now. There's been a lot of countries don't necessarily agree with what America's already done in the Middle East. So going back to the Middle East and doing more, is that really going to help our image? Building a whole wall across Mexico and making Mexicans pay for it, do you really think pissing off our next door neighbors is really a good idea? Something to think about.
I mean, that's a great point, but I think going back to what I said earlier, that's what's great about America. If we don't like him or we don't like the things he's done under his term, we can get rid of him after 4 years. And I know necessarily what Obama's done the past 8 years, for instance, creating Obamacare. The Republicans want to get in there and just repeal it, get rid of it. So not necessarily everything he does will have a long-term effect, because the next politician or businessman or doctor that wants to run for office in 2020, they can wipe everything he did.
If there's anything left.
If there's anything left, yeah.
That's the thing. Who knows what if Donald Trump just goes crazy? What if he starts problems with North Korea? Do we really need that in our country? Do we really need someone pissing off the whole world and making people think less favorably of America than they already do? And on entertainment news, last Friday on February 19th, a Manhattan judge denied Kesha's injunction from Dr. Luke and Kemosabe Records after a lawsuit that he allegedly sexually, physically, and emotionally abused her throughout her musical career. What do you take on that?
Well, it's tough. I'll bring it into the Albany life here. Recently, like we all know, the 3 girls who got allegedly harassed on the CTA bus, it came out that the story was completely different than what was initially reported. And the same instance with Dr. Luke and Kesha. If it did happen, it's atrocious that anyone has to go through that. But especially in the spotlight of Hollywood, Kesha has complete is in the complete right doing of trying to get out of the contract with Dr. Luke. But if she's bluffing or over exaggerating, like what happened on campus, then that's not cool either. But I don't want to sit here and give you a solid opinion because I don't have all the facts, and I think it's wrong of me to like justifiably do so.
I respect that 100%. I think the problem is, like, in a world like today, a lot of these issues are such delicate issues. There's a very fine line. You know, feminism is a very strong growing movement, especially among college girls and college students. So to say that, oh, she wasn't raped like she alleged, then what if it turns out she was? Then the whole feminist movement would grow even stronger. But to say that Dr. Luke was actually telling the truth and that this isn't true, then, you know, it's hard to say, like, who do you want to protect? Like, who do you want to defend? Who do you want to protect? I know. It is a huge deal though. A lot of big major recording artists like Lorde, Adele, Taylor Swift just actually donated herself $250,000 to Kesha so she can make music with other recording artists and other producers. You know, it's a big deal. I think a lot of female artists feel for her because they probably dealt with a lot of similar pressures of, you know, like dealing with like sexism and like the whole female body image, like as a recording artist, and because you know you've seen her videos, like TikTok, it's very eccentric and colorful and all that, and they have to put off a certain image. And I'm sure, I know in the lawsuit that Dr. Luke and Kesha have argued with each other about, you know, like musical differences, and that's probably what has led to all these alleged assaults and other instances of abuse. So to go back on all of that, I think the problem is that there needs to be more evidence. I think more people have to come forward. More people have to come forward with evidence. More people have to come forward with statements. You know, eyewitnesses. I think everything needs to come out more clear in the courtroom before it comes out clear in like our public opinions.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier in regards to protecting either one of them and the feminist movement. I don't think it's so much for protecting either one of them. It's who's right and who's wrong. Like if it happened one instance, then he's in the wrong. But if it never happened at all, Kesha's out of line for like defaming his name, and that's why you definitely need some hard evidence to prove that one of them is right and one of them is wrong. Because it's not like a blurred line. It's either he sexually harassed her in any way or he didn't, and it's cut and dry like that.
I think, but when it comes to saying who's right and who's wrong, it's who's right about what and who's wrong about what. Recently, with her injunction denial, Kesha was claiming that he was holding her pretty much hostage, that she was not allowing her to make any recordings with any other artists, any other producers. But he's also coming out with statements like that's not true, that she's free to do what she wants. That's what the court ruled too. That's what the judge said, that they will handle this, you know, commercially. Like they will handle this on like business terms, but she could still like record with other artists. I know it's very emotional for Kesha to deal with that. I know it's probably very emotional for her fan base and other female artists to understand the struggles she goes through. But at the same time, what if it comes out that she was right about the alleged assaults, and then she was right about that, but at the same time, what if she was wrong about certain other business aspects of the contract? She was like not being able to record other artists, any like musical differences, her influence on certain songs that Dr. Luke may or may not have supported strongly. It's very fine. Everything's such a fine like line to cross on that it could fall over on each side going down the whole way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I want to take this into like a different avenue, but I know we're two males, and I wish we had a woman to ask.
Yeah.
But if it comes out that she's not telling the truth and she has to continue working with Dr. Luke, I know we're not near like the fame or the stature that Kesha is, but like how is that like relationship going to get fixed, or can it get fixed, or she like you said earlier, she has 4 more albums until she gets out of the contract.
Yeah.
Correct. So how is that dynamic going to work out?
I don't know how it could possibly, honestly. How could you work with someone for 4 more albums after? All right, she has two very successful albums. I'm not gonna lie, she's done well for herself. She's got a fan base, she's got an image. But how would she go on to make 4 more albums with someone after all of this? Even if everything was proven false for either side, and they moved past it, like in like commercial terms, like business terms, like how could you work with someone like that? Like how could you be in an office, in a recording studio, and just look at them after all this? I don't think it's possible, to be honest.
That's a very good point. And she also has an awesome birthday on March 1st, so Keep
Yeah.
that in mind. Yeah. Last week there was a fire in Idaho that was caused by an unattended candle in the closet. There was minimal damage, one minor injury, and the sprinkler system went off. But good news, everyone was allowed to go back inside the next day.
In other SA news, the SA elections are being held from March 1st to March 3rd for positions such as president, vice president, and other senator positions. So make sure you go on My Involvement and make sure your voice is heard.
Yeah, save the date. April 17th, we have the Cultural Carnival, and then on April 24th, we have Park Fest, and go into My Involvement to vote for various artists that may be performing, such as Kendrick Lamar, Lil Dicky, Future, just to name a few. Registration closes on March 14th, and every vote matters, so get your vote in there.
Thanks for tuning in to ATV 360. I hope you guys check back in next week for our next episode.
Have a great week, guys. I'm Jacob Wasserman.
And I'm Zach Kuzo.
It was a pleasure.